There were reportedly significant last-minute changes at Survivor Series last night. Vince McMahon apologizes to a Raw star, and a released NXT superstar has made their Impact Wrestling debut. Find out who it is in a bit. So last night was Survivor Series 2021, and how did we fare? How did we fare?
Find out tomorrow night, Sam, on the cut down, edited down reactions with myself and Andrew, because our couch isn't big enough to fit 8 big sweaty men. Well, 7 big sweaty men and Andrew. Well, no, 6 big sweaty men and Andrew and Owen. 2 children in the midst of big sweaty men.
Well, so it was kind of like people were excited for a lot of reasons going into Survivor Series, but I think first and foremost was Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, and this is one that people thought was going to main event the show, right?
Like it's a shoot, bro.
That was it. There was so much shoot in the build, and it was kind of like blurring the lines between work and shoot. Everything was just for the first time they had that perfect storm going, and then the show starts. And out they walk, first, just straight out the gate, Becky versus Charlotte. And Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful was reporting that the opening match and the main event was swapped last minute, with Becky versus Charlotte opening the show, as I said, and Big E versus Roman closing it out. And Sean Ross Sapp also tweeted there was conflicting info within the company's rundowns, but by the looks of it, some have said this was nailed down since Thursday. Others say they had Charlotte and Becky listed internally main eventing as of the morning. So that's, I can't get it through my head.
I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on there, Sam, and I'm just going to put some hack theory out there into the world. I reckon they put Big E versus Roman Reigns from first match to last match just to maybe suspend the potential appearance of one Dwayne The Rock Johnson all the way through the night, which didn't happen, but still, it could have happened up until it didn't happen.
Because, they really doubled down on that build, didn't they? With our 25 years of The Rock, 25 years of The Rock. As if they realised, just then that week, it was like, Battle Royal!
Yeah.
So, it's fascinating. Because, the Charlotte-Becky match was just as you'd expect. It was just fighting and beating the absolute crap out of each other. So, more on this when we find out more, I guess. But it just definitely a curious decision by Vince McMahon there. And just on the topic of Vince, recently, do you remember the situation in which Zelina Vega was scheduled to wrestle on the 9/11 anniversary show? And obviously her father passed away on 9/11, and this was a very big moment for her, and then it was cancelled last minute.
Yeah, and it felt like a really weird thing to happen. You'd think a situation like that, and a superstar like Zelina Vega, who's been through what she has been through with the company
very publicly
over the past year,
done a lot to raise awareness around the situation, and it just didn't sit right with many people at all. A lot of fans taking to Twitter and social media just to kind of feed back to WWE on that, because it spilled over into a large like a large public outcry. But Zelina Vega's actually touched on this in a recent interview with TalkSport. She said, a lot of people were really upset, but I felt like a lot of the anger was misguided. I was disappointed, but I also knew it wasn't a personal thing. When it got cut, Vince called me and apologized because he wanted to make sure that I knew. Listen, this wasn't done to you personally or anything. It was literally just the time. I had to make that call, and I'm so sorry. And people don't know that side either. I love and appreciate my fans so much. Just know it wasn't something done personally to me. To have a boss to care enough to call you and go, look, I'm sorry, that's important. And, that was something, at the time, it was like, how could Vince do this? And how could Vince, this is so unfair. And, to hear that Vince actually reached out to him, more than apologetic by the sounds of it, about the situation. Because this is the thing as well, as we kind of touched on at the time, and, we said probably, if this was cut for time reasons, then why? Because I think there was quite a bit of fluff in and around that show, but at the same time, Vince at least had the decency to contact her and apologise for it.
Yeah, Zelina was at that memorial thing, wasn't she, the week of the anniversary, and she was reading out names and whatnot, and it seemed like such a big deal, not for only her personally, but for the company as a whole, to sort of pay tribute through her, if you want. So I guess it sort of restores your faith a bit in Vince McMahon. Yeah. He isn't this mythical, horrible monster that we hear about all the time.
Because that tends to be all we hear. You never really often think, when you think of Vince, you think of kind of like a dynamo minotaur, right? You don't think of like a merciless big lizard. It's not like you don't really think of the humanity side of Vince, and it's why whenever you see images of Vince actually laughing, or he's out with a couple of frappes outside of Starbucks, it's like, what? Like you do normal things.
Normal man. But I guess if we go back, I can't remember what happened exactly segment for segment on the 9/11 anniversary of SmackDown, but I bet there was a segment which could have been cut with this match taking place.
I believe there was, because I remember reporting the news that Saturday, and it was a bit like, oh, come on, like really?
Get your priorities right.
But just to kind of go elsewhere in the world of wrestling now, Eddie Kingston has been on a roll as of late, and of course his match with CM Punk was delicious. Give me more, give me more, give me more, and it looks like we're getting more. Please, just let him run for a year if you can. But there's some Eddie Kingston news in the form of him returning to New Japan Pro Wrestling. So he's going to be making his second ever appearance for the company at New Japan Strong Nemesis. Now, his only prior New Japan show was at the Strong New Japan Showdown taping in Philadelphia in October, where he teamed with Jon Moxley against Suzuki and Lance Archer in a street fight. New Japan's taping in Los Angeles is set for Thursday, December 9th, so if you can get yourself down there, get yourself down there. More Eddie Kingston in all of our lives is something I think we all need in these trying, horrible modern times.
He really is someone we can get by. No, honestly, as I said on Twitter a little while ago, like I didn't know much about Eddie Kingston before his AEW run, but since he's gone to AEW, Matthew's little boner from on the Cultaholic Wrestling podcast has been proven to be 100% correct. We've all got boners for Eddie Kingston here, haven't we? I've just killed it there, haven't I, Sam? Rhea Ripley!
Heading over to NXT, NXT, but yeah, it's kind of an NXT situation. Rhea Ripley talking about Tegan Knox. Now, talking to Alex McCarthy, Rhea Ripley said, Tegan doesn't understand how much I appreciate her and what she's done for me, but there was a time at the Performance Center where my name was on the list to get fired, and I'd only been there for a year. One of the guys found out that I was on the list, and he told Tegan, look, you got to make Rhea look good, because this might be her last match here otherwise, and that's exactly what she did. Even though it was in front of our peers, and that's the most terrifying time to have a match, she made me look like an absolute star. And that's just, it's so nice to hear, isn't it? I mean, she went on to say about her time in the Mae Young Classic with Tegan getting injured, and she felt so bad for her. She said, like her career skyrocketed because nobody believed in her before then, but because it happened, she was forced to go into that match with Shirai, and they pulled off the match, and people kind of really had to get behind her.
Yeah.
So the company knew that she was a rising star, so she's kind of, helped Rhea by accident as well. And she said, I love Tegan so much, and I'm so upset she's not here with me, and I wish that we finally got to have another match on TV, because it never got to happen. I felt so bad. After it happened, she got a surgery. I took my dog over to her house because I knew that she loved dogs, and I just let her play with my pup. I'm sorry, pet my dog. Which, it's just nice to hear these friendships between wrestlers that kind of blossom out of being put together to work and happenstance. But at the same time, it's just... Tegan Knox was somebody I thought the company were really going to stick behind, because she got injured a couple of times, and I just figured, well, if they didn't really have any interest in developing Tegan Knox further, they probably would have released her a lot earlier, right?
Yeah. And this has just sort of made me feel a lot nicer about Tegan Knox's time in WWE, because while the work was there when she was obviously in the ring, the sort of character investment wasn't there, if you know what I mean. She sort of was there as a sort of bland baby face going, hello, I'm Tegan Knox, this, that and the other, here's me feud with Dakota Kai, and then that is about as much as we got, wasn't it? So it's nice to hear that she did some good stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah, it just kind of seemed to ramp up and then hit a wall, and it's nice to see that there was a lot more going on there than we would have known publicly had this not been talked about. Now, just on the topic of released WWE stars, a released star has made their impact for Impact Wrestling. And who is it, Ross?
Their impact for Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
It's a Monday morning, but he's not lost a step, has he? It's Bronson Reed's Jonah, all in capitals for all of the emphasis on Jonah, who has made his Impact Wrestling debut. He attacked Josh Alexander, which is the biggest dog to go and get in Impact Wrestling just about today these days. Puts his earmuffs on.
He's on a roll. He's on a roll. This is, man. Like, Jonah's somebody who I'm just fascinated by bigger guys that can move that quick. And his Straight to Hell was one of my favourite ones you've done recently, like with just the in-depth nature he went into everything. Yeah. But I think the only way is up for him. I don't understand what WWE didn't see in him. He's the agility, the size, the power, he's the complete package.
And he can talk.
Yeah.
He's a lovely fella. A really nice fella. He literally has everything. that Vince McMahon wanting a wrestler.
He's gonna go on to bigger and bigger things at Impact. You know, I can see him very much fulfilling that big man role very well within
anywhere he wants to.
But that's it. Like anywhere, he can go anywhere and make a massive impact.
I mean, he's ticked off 2 so far. New Japan Pro Wrestling ticked off. Impact Wrestling ticked off. So where next for Jonah? All in capitals.
And finally, just to keep it with Impact Wrestling, the first matches have been announced for Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill event. Now, the Impact's knockout champion Mickie James will be defending her title against former champion Deonna Purrazzo in a rematch at January's Hard to Kill pay-per-view. Hard to Kill will also feature the first ever Women's Ultimate X match, and competitors are yet to be named for it. But oh my God, I love Ultimate X.
Yeah.
Impact has an incredibly strong women's division, always has prioritized their women's division to be, you know, wrestling oriented. And so, you know, while WWE were going through the dark ages, I think Impact's got women's wrestling down.
Of course they are.
So this is like the Ultimate X step. It's, oh man, I'm so excited to see this.
I don't know what else to say there, Sam. You've taken all the words from my mouth.
It's just, oh my God. But anyway, that's it.
We have some things to plug though,
Oh,
Sam.
we
Sorry
do.
to touch
Oh,
your
God.
hand.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. 1 p.m. GMT these days. GMT over here in the UK. We have a brand new review show launching for Survivor Series 2021. It'll be for pay-per-views from here on out. And if people like it, we'll do it for Raw, we'll do it for SmackDown, we'll do it for AEW, we'll do it for NXT. So if you want to see more of that live review show, hosted first and foremost by Tom Campbell and Andrew Hodkinson. Boo, Andrew. And
Don't boo, Andrew. We need support.
You're on.
I know I am, but I'm an editor at heart.
Boo, Andrew. They'll be there on twitch.tv/Cultaholic at 1 p.m. BST. Also coming up today, well, on the channel now, what happened at Survivor Series 2021 with Jack the Jobber. And then later on this evening, I'll be back with WTF Moments with Survivor Series 2021, the subject of that there video. And then tomorrow, cut down edited live reactions with myself and Boo, Andrew, Boo. And if you're going to go on the channel right now, you'll see Adam Pachitti's live stream. Catch up and see what he made of all the happenings at Survivor Series. Lots of content. Content.
So as Ross said, 1 p.m. twitch.tv/Cultaholic for our inaugural Cultaholic Live. Your chance to win prizes as well and see a lovely set we've been working on. That's right, we've done something professional. I can't believe it. You just need to tune in to see it.
If you flick on Raw about 20 years ago, you'll get it. You'll get it.
Catch you in a bit for video 2.